Hello friends and welcome to another lecture. So in last lecture we talked about the basic unit of construction, we talked about masonry and we talked about bonding. Now let's look at bricks in a little bit more detail. So there are many kinds of bricks and bricks can be classified in many different types based on different criterions. So we'll basically consider here two major criterias, uh, which will which are being used to categorize bricks. So number one is the classification based on raw materials. So basically there are three major types of bricks which are being used. So number one is our traditional brick or our burnt clay brick, which is basically made up of clay. So this brick is obtained by pressing clay in molds and then frying and drying it into the kilns. This is the most commonly used brick. Generally, these bricks are used for doing all the brickwork, and since and these bricks are not very polished kind of a brick, so we need to be plastered to get a finished surface out of brick. Another kind of brick which is being used is fly ash clay brick. Now these are the combination of fly ash and clay. They are generally uh, smooth once manufactured, and so these could be plastered or not depending upon what kind of finish is required. These bricks are being used mostly in the places where there's a lot of where there's some powerhouse nearby, so that a lot of fly ash can be recovered. So these are these are more cost effective, compared to clay bricks, if uh, if are available, if flash is available in bulk. Uh, and the last type is concrete bricks. So these are made up of concrete. These are not used very often, though there are these days a few derivatives of concrete bricks available, which we will cover later. So those bricks are quite in demand these days, but the actual concrete brick is not used so much. Uh, so the most commonly used brick is our burnt clay brick. So on the base of raw materials we can largely see there are these three type of bricks which are being used. Then the other classification bricks can be done uh, based on quality. So for this classification, what we will consider that we are using, or we're talking about the mostly used brick, that is a burnt clay brick. So now this can be a subcategory of burnt clay brick. So burnt clay brick can be classified in three divisions based on the quality. So uh, they can be a first class brick, which is generally of standard size. By standard size we mean you don't find so the bricks whose corners are chipped, or broken in some form, are not considered first class brick. So first class brick has to be of a standard size. They are well burnt, uniform shape, regular texture. The water absorption capacity is less than 10%. See, water absorption is very important. You must have seen a lot of curing is being done before utilizing the bricks. The idea behind that is, if the brick is not cured properly, it will absorb the water from the mortar, and we will not be able to get the strength of the wall as expected. So it's important that a lot of curing is done before actually utilizing the brick. So a first class brick will not absorb water beyond 10%. They have the maximum crushing strength, which is around 20 kilogram per square centimeter. Uh, Another important point is that if you know struck the two bricks together, or you struck a brick with a hammer, you will hear a metallic sound, which is quite a good test in finding out whether the brick is of good quality or not. So these first class bricks are generally used in in most of the buildings that are being built today, and they have quite the durability of this brick is very good. So any building which might have a lifespan of 100 years or so, so there we are using these kind of bricks. Okay, so another category is a second class brick, which is also of standard size. There is a little decoloration, or you know uh, it's, the color, although the color will has to be uniform red and yellow, but yes, practically there you will find secondary bricks have a little, um, decoloration. And these bricks again are also well burnt, and little overburnt bricks are acceptable too. Their water absorption capacity is generally falls between the category of 10 to 15%. They have less crushing strength compared to first class brick, and which is around 175 kilogram per square centimeter. They also make that metallic sound when struck with a hammer or a similar brick. These bricks are used for one-storied buildings, as they don't have much life, unlike first-class bricks. And the last category is or the last class of burnt clay brick is third-class brick, which is which as the name suggests is oftenly of the worst quality, and the shape and size is irregular. Color is also soft, light red. They are either underburnt, or they are so much overburnt that they cannot be used for any permanent construction. Texture is also not uniform. They absorb a lot of water, you know. So again, you cannot make a very uh, good wall, or very wall which has a lot of strength using these bricks. Their crushing strength is also the lowest, and these bricks don't make this metallic sound. They make a very dull, or a blunt sound when you struck them. So these classifications are the major classifications which can be done regarding brick. So now in our next video, we'll go through the size of the brick, and to know we will get to know more technical aspects of the brick. Um, Thank you, and I will see you in another lecture.